We've spent several modules talking about implicatures, which are, parts of meaning that a person conveys without literally saying. So in this module, we're going to talk about another kind of meaning, which is different from implicatures, and that's called presupposition. So presupposition is a special kind of meaning, which is a little bit difficult to define what a presupposition is, because there's still a lot of debate and people don't agree on what exactly presuppositions are and what the definition is. So to start off, let's look at some examples, and then we'll see how these examples work and how they're different from the kinds of meaning that we've looked at before. So let's think about these sort of questions. Imagine if someone asks a question like, have you stopped smoking yet? Or will your girlfriend be jealous if we get lunch together? So these questions both have an extra piece of meaning or an extra assumption built into them. So for example, if I ask someone, have you stopped smoking yet? That presupposes, or it assumes, that you were smoking before. If I ask someone, will your girlfriend be jealous if we get lunch together? That assumes or presupposes that you have a girlfriend. Right? So these presuppositions are sort of some background assumption that's built into the sentence or built into the question. And specifically, for the sentence to mean something, or for the sentence to be true or false, the presupposition has to be true. Right? So for example, a sentence like, he has stopped smoking. If the person was smoking before, that sentence can be true or false, right? True if he was smoking before and is not smoking anymore. False if he was smoking before and is still smoking. But if the person was never smoking anyway, then a sentence like he has stopped smoking is kind of hard to say if it's true or false, right? It is almost neither one. So that's the idea of presuppositions, is it's some background assumption that needs to be true for the sentence to make sense. So for these questions, you can imagine how it would feel if someone asked you this question when the presupposition is not true, right? So if you've never smoked before, and then someone asks, have you stopped smoking yet? You probably wouldn't say yes or no, right? You would probably say, that question doesn't make sense because I wasn't smoking anyway. Right? But likewise, if you don't have a girlfriend and then someone asks, will your girlfriend be jealous if we get lunch together? You probably wouldn't say yes or no, right? You would probably say, I don't have a girlfriend. Right? So that's what presuppositions are. Now, what we have to do now is see, are presuppositions different from the other kinds of meaning we've looked at? Particularly based on what I've said so far, you might think that presuppositions are just part of the literal meaning of the word stop or something like that. You might think they're entailments, right? Part of semantic meaning. You might say, well, the word stop just means stop doing something that was happening before. There is one way that we can see that presuppositions work different from literal semantic meaning, though, and that's if we think about how entailments work. So we have to go back several modules, but remember what entailments are, right? An entailment is something that if this is true, then something else must be true. That's an entailment. So for example, if it's true that I saw a black cat, it must be true that I saw a cat, right? So this is an entailment. We say, I saw a black cat entails that I saw a cat, right? Because all black cats are cats. So that's what entailments are. And one thing about entailments is that if you put an entailment under a negative word, then it will flip. So for example, I saw a black cat means I definitely saw a cat, right? But if I say, I didn't see a black cat, that does not entail that I didn't see a cat, right? Because maybe I saw a white cat, maybe I saw an orange cat, maybe I saw a tabby cat or something, right? So I saw a black cat entails I saw a cat, but I didn't see a black cat does not entail I didn't see a cat. And so, in fact, the entailment will flip. right? So for example, under negation, I didn't see a cat will entail I didn't see a black cat, right? So we call this upward entailment versus downward entailment in semantics. But anyway, the important thing is entailment is influenced by negation or negative words, right? Presuppositions don't work like that. So for example, I saw your brother, it presupposes that you have a brother, right? Just like will your girlfriend be jealous presupposes that you have a girlfriend. But I didn't see your brother, it still presupposes that you have a brother, right? So again, if I say I didn't see your brother and you actually don't have a brother, the sentence it's hard to say if it's true or false. It seems more like it doesn't make sense. So this is a way that presuppositions seem like they're different from literal semantic meaning, that they're not affected by negation. So that suggests that they're not entailments, but they're something else. Now, based on what we've seen so far, you might also be thinking presuppositions look a lot like conventional implicatures, right? Because both presuppositions and conventional implicatures are somehow attached to specific words or specific structures. So we can try this same test to see if it distinguishes between presuppositions and conventional implicatures, right? So like we've seen before, presuppositions don't flip under negation, right? So I saw your brother or I didn't see your brother, they have the same presupposition. They both presuppose that you have a brother. But this doesn't help us tell presuppositions apart from conventional implicatures because conventional implicatures have the same property, right? So conventional implicatures also don't flip under negation. For example, if we think about the conventional implicatures with but that we've talked about in previous modules, we can have a sentence like, Eliza thinks Freddie is rich but stupid. That implicates that being rich and being stupid are in contrast, right? Maybe the person who said this utterance thinks being rich is a good thing, but being stupid is a bad thing. If we put negation in that sentence, it doesn't change the conventional implicature, right? So Eliza doesn't think Freddie is rich but stupid. That seems like it still implicates that being rich is good and stupid is bad, or something like that. I probably would not say this sentence to mean something like Eliza thinks Freddie is rich and Eliza thinks Freddie is stupid, but she doesn't think those are in contrast. She thinks being rich and stupid are both bad or something. If that were the situation, it would be very weird for me to say Eliza doesn't think Freddie is rich but stupid. So it seems like both presuppositions and conventional implicatures have this property that they aren't affected by negation in the sentence. So is it the case that presuppositions are just another kind of conventional implicature? One piece of evidence to argue against that is this. So one way they're different is that presuppositions seem pretty easy to cancel. So for example, I can say, I didn't see John's brother because John doesn't have a brother. So here, I didn't see John's brother presupposes that he has a brother, but then I explicitly cancel that in the next part of the sentence. Right? So this maybe it seems a little bit annoying, but it's not a contradiction, right? It's not super weird. Whereas conventional implicatures are not very easy to cancel that way. So if I say like, Eliza doesn't think Freddie is rich but stupid, because Eliza doesn't think there's a contrast between being rich and being stupid, it still sounds very weird. It seems like something only a semanticist or pragmaticist would say. It doesn't sound like something I would say in natural language. So if you buy this argument, then this is a piece of evidence that presuppositions are not conventional implicatures. And like we saw before, they're not entailments. So it seems like they're a different kind of meaning from the other two.